Now, the special festivities on Eid would mean nothing if not for family gatherings. And one of the most essential essence of Eid is to share joy. And this is why Ilham is here to show us how to make it extra special this year. The spirit of sharing is expressed through food, and the table setting plays a very important role. So Ilham, you're about to speak us through 7 tips for a festive Eid table setup.
Yeah, so, just sitting here makes me feel like I'm at home already. So you can see we've got, a lovely tablecloth that's running through the middle of the table. This is the time when you take all of your most special items out of the house, your best crockery. We've got a beautiful placemat here that's just a really nice metallic color. And then, we've got a centerpiece here of flowers, very simple.
I'm already starting to pick up some themes and some common colors and threads. There's definitely a celebration of gold.
Yes, so, obviously it's Eid, so we would, gold and silver and those sorts of metallic colors just exude sort of like a luxury type of, vibe. So we've got those colors represented here in the cutlery, on the placemat, and then also bringing through with our glasses, and our little cake stand, and then, of course, our little tray here that we've got in the middle. That just adds sort of like vibrancy to the table setting.
And not only that, you also decided to mirror that same vibrancy within your crockery. Are there any do's and don'ts when it comes to crockery?
So I think when, especially when you have metallic crockery, so whether it's silver, gold, rose gold, they tend to, you can see like fingerprints and marks on them very easily. So I think always giving your cutlery a good polish before you set your table is definitely something that everyone should do. Obviously besides them making sure everything is nice and clean and spotless. But yeah, that, and then obviously the placement, so where we've got our main fork and our knife, and we've got a spoon, so depending on what we are serving at the table, and how we're placing our crockery and also our napkin.
Yes, that's actually the next point I wanted to touch base on. Dumi, I think it's also very important to be able to have everything on the table communicate to each other. So your crockery matching your napkin. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I actually agree as well, because the one thing that's important here is to make sure that every guest that's at your table feels welcome. So there is somewhat of a personal touch when you see so much effort that has gone into making sure that the table looks amazing, the food looks amazing. And I know we're touching on the placemats and on all of that, but on the food side of it, is there a rule of how much you can have on a table? Too much is too much, or too much is too little? Because it is a sharing event,
I don't think that there's ever too much on Eid, because because if there are leftovers, they are definitely going to be eaten like the next day and the next day and the next. But as long as I would say that there's, enough for everyone, because some people may choose not to have something, or, you might have someone who loves fruit, like my mother, for example. Yeah. She loves having fruit, like the first thing. So that beautiful platter of fresh fruit there, I know she would be like,
she'd gun towards it.
Definitely, that would be the first thing that she would go for. And my dad, he would love the kebabs, and I'm sure Kashif would love the kebabs as well, because it's a lovely, satisfying meat dish.
Well, with the food just being it's something that just catches the eye, almost decoration on its own. How important then is a centerpiece?
Yeah.
So I think a centerpiece is very important because, obviously it adds like a focal point to a table. But I think it's very important that the centerpiece shouldn't cover or shouldn't, hinder the conversation. Because if you have a centerpiece that's in the middle of the table that's too big, maybe you wouldn't be able to see the person sitting across from you, or you'd have to, keep on doing this. So this is actually quite lovely because it's the perfect height where you can, easily talk to everyone that's sitting around.
Yeah, and we don't want it to compete with the rest of the food here. Yes. We also have a huge celebration of light. I do see candles being used time and time again within the Eid celebrations.
Yeah, so these candle holders are actually very special to me because this was one of the first gifts that Kashif bought for me after we got married. So I always have them, you know, somewhere on the table in the house with little tea light candles. It just adds that extra warmth. You know, every time you have a little candle or something like that, it just adds that atmosphere or that warmth.
It makes it so homely. But I just want to touch, okay, there's something that we're like really ignoring here. And I think that it's the celebration of glass, the patterns, the textures, and almost the mosaic feel that is so true to the Eid culture.
Yeah, so these glasses are also quite special to us because, you know, the glasses and the plate, my parents had gone on holiday, and then this was the first gift that they gave to us as a married couple. So, you know, having these little glasses on the table, this actually has some boba in it, and we've got some rose that's decorating, you know...
that boba.
Yeah, the boba. So, you know, the rose, the cardamom, all of those, like, Middle Eastern flavors, add a really nice warmth and a bit of texture to something like this.
And I'm so glad you started talking about the food, because that's where you come in now, Dumi. I wanted to ask you, we do have this spread. Ilham has already told us about how to kick the presentation up a notch, but how do we ensure the food and the menu looks good? What do we have?
Well, one thing that's the theme that the Ilham seems to have here is just keeping it light. Because, I mean, even if you look at the snacks that are on this stand here, it's all stuff that's light that can be eaten and shared amongst the people. So I think it is important to make sure that the theme ties into the celebration as well, so that you don't have anything that basically overlooks certain parts of it. The food is light. The event is a light event. You don't want it to be too heavy. So table setting, food as well, everything has to tie in. Like you said, the combos must communicate.
They must communicate. We definitely are kicking up the celebrations this year. Now, to find out how to create this beautiful array of food, head over to afternoonexpress.co.za. But we still have so much more from the incredible couple as we do celebrate Eid.